Hey guys, it's been a while since I've done one of these garage sale videos, and that's because, well, one, initially I was busy with school and work at the same time, and I just didn't have time to go out and actually go hit garage sales, and then after I finally finished with my undergrad degree, COVID hit. So, of course, during COVID, there were almost no garage sales around my area. Now COVID's finally starting to die down a little bit in the US. People are coming back out doing garage sales on the weekends, and I'm finally able to go out again and grab stuff like this. Now, these aren't the only things I grabbed at the garage sales, and these are actually from last week's haul. I also got a edger for I actually free. I walked up to it and the guy just said, "Take it." Today, I went out. Unfortunately, didn't find any computers, so these are the only ones we have here today from last week's haul. But I went out and I got that Craftsman toolbox right here. And then I got a bench grinder as well. A Fluke multimeter, actually, for $10, which was an absolute steal. And then I also managed to pick up a soldering iron, like a portable soldering iron, because I have one here, but I always need to do wire work outside. And it's a pain in the butt to unplug this and drag it outside, so I figured why not. You know, for $3, you're not really going to lose out on anything, so I went ahead and picked that up as well. I might go ahead and put some B-roll footage of some of that stuff in after the fact, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But anyway, for today's video, we are going to be looking at these two laptops. So I picked these up for $10 a piece. The guy said that they did work. He was really adamant that they worked because he said if they don't work, you can bring them back. But I was like, that's okay. You know, for $10, it's not even worth it to bring them back. I can just part them out for whatever parts they have in them. And they appear to be fairly complete. I mean, there's no panels, or it doesn't look like anyone was in here actually messing around with the internals of these laptops. They look like they're in really good condition, actually. I mean, these are... I hate these laptops. I'm going to be completely frank here. I hate these type of plasticky consumer laptops because they just don't last very long. You know, the plastic tends to crack. These are things that are going to last you for maybe, you know, anywhere between 2 to 4 years before they're just in too rough of a condition to use anymore. That's why I like to stick with enterprise laptops. And if you follow my channel, you guys know that. Now, since it has been a while since we've done one of these videos, I'd just like to remind you guys that these videos tend to be a little bit on the informal side. A lot more laid back. We're basically just going to take a look at these two laptops, see if they power on. We might open them up. I see some service panels right here and see what's inside there. So we also got the power supply for each of these laptops, which is nice because a lot of the times I'll go to these garage sales, I'll pick up a laptop and the owner actually has lost the power supply. That happens almost, I'd say 80% of the time when I buy laptops from garage sales. But in this case, they did come with the power supplies for each machine, and they're actually named. You can see Tucker and Tanner right there. And speaking of names, I didn't want to do a live stream on these because I was worried about personal information showing up on the computers when I turned them on. What we're going to do first is actually open these things up so you guys can see what kind of condition they're in on the inside, where the keyboard is. And these things are actually really gross. Hey guys, yeah, it's a really glossy and really dirty screen. That's gross, actually. So I wanted to show you guys the condition that the laptops came in, but I'm actually going to clean these off after this clip, so you don't have to look at all the nastiness, and so I don't have to touch all the nastiness when we're messing around with these things. But overall, once again, I mean, besides the grossness all over this thing, it's this one at least looks like it's in pretty good condition, 100% complete, not missing any keycaps or anything, not missing any panels. The screen doesn't look cracked starting off. Now that might change when we actually turn this thing on. And before we go on to the next laptop, I'm also going to breeze through quickly what we have here for I/O. So it looks like we have a CD/DVD-ROM drive, 2 USB ports, a lock slot, power port. On the back, it is completely empty, actually. There's no ports on the back. And on the other side, you'll find probably the most interesting thing about this laptop. So we have 2 audio out jacks and then a microphone jack. So a good deal of audio ports on this machine. And I believe this HP Pavilion is boasting Beats audio. I've never really understood what exactly that is. I think Beats just took their brand and slapped it onto the laptop as like a marketing thing. I don't think it actually makes too much of a difference, but I could be wrong there. But I've never really been into that whole audio scene on laptops. If I want to edit audio, I'm going to do it on a desktop with a proper sound card. We have 2 USB ports, Ethernet, HDMI out, and VGA. And on the front, I believe I spotted a... Oh yeah, there's a SD card reader right there. I think that's it. Okay, moving on to this Asus laptop, or Asus, however you want to pronounce it. So this one is also in great condition. I think this one is a little bit on the newer side because I noticed that this laptop has USB 3.0 ports. Opening this thing up, if I can do it with one hand, you can also see a glossy screen just like the HP Pavilion. It's not as gross as the HP laptop was though. There's some stuff on the screen. I'm going to have to wipe both of these down pretty well, but not as much stuff scattered all around the palm rest and the keyboards. And once again, this machine looks pretty complete as well. No missing keycaps, no missing plastic, no cracked plastic on both of these, surprisingly. They are in great condition, actually. I just looked up, and what I noticed was this. I'm pretty sure that's showing up on camera. But there's some sort of like dark line running through the screen right here. And I'm not sure, like maybe someone put too much pressure on the back of the screen on this area and it cracked or something along those lines. I'm not sure if that's going to show up when we power on the laptop. Hopefully the screen isn't completely trashed, but once again, if it is, I'm just going to part this thing out. As far as ports are concerned for this one, and I'll show you what model this is in a sec, but as far as ports go, we already took a quick look at this side. We have those 2 USB 3.0 ports, Ethernet, HDMI out, VGA, lock slot, nothing on the back. And on this side, we have a DVD drive, USB port, and then our audio jacks. And I believe there was also a SD card, yeah, SD card slot, kind of hidden on the bottom with this one. Right there. And for the model, I looked this one up as well. This is I'm not sure if these specs are right. We're going to have to check that out when we actually boot these things up. But this is a Asus K55. That is a little bit better. So I took a little bit of time and kind of decontaminated these laptops, and you can see that they're pretty much on the clean side now. One thing I found interesting, and we're actually going to test out this Asus system first because kind of curious to see what the screen is going to do when we turn it on. Now the screen might be cooked, but one thing I noticed when I was setting everything up was that the power supply they included for the Asus system is not actually an Asus power supply. This is like one of the ones you buy off eBay for $9. I guess they lost the original one, so I found that kind of funny. But anyway, the camera's about to die, so I'm going to replace that battery, and then we're going to fire this thing up. Well, it's taking power, so let's see what carnage we're going to see from the screen. Now I'm going to power it up. Let me find the power button, and here we go. Get that in focus. Oh, okay, that's actually not too bad. You can still see it right there. I think it's just going to be completely, yeah. So that Windows logo is cut off. It's just not going to show anything on that section. That section's toast. But the rest of the screen, it's not like cracked outside of that. So we're still going to be able to see everything, minus this little area right here where it's seen some sort of damage. That Windows 8 installation ended up being password protected, and honestly, it's not even worth my time to try and get around that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe this thing with DBAN and put Windows 10 on it when we're done looking at this HP laptop. Spec-wise, this is one heck of a beefy machine for $10. I mean, we have an AMD A8 4500M with Radeon HD graphics and 6 gigabytes of what I believe is DDR3 RAM. And it's actually on par with the one I pulled up. I think it's identical actually to the one I pulled up on Newegg. So if only it didn't have this little line going through the screen, this would be a really quick laptop. Especially if you put an SSD in it. Once again, not a huge fan of the consumer quality, but it would definitely be one heck of a fast machine. I could still get a couple bucks for this, even with the damaged screen. But man, if only that one little defect wasn't there. This one's also taking power. You can see the little indicator light right there. Now cross your fingers that it actually powers on. So the power button's right here. Oh no, that's not the power button. I was wrong. It's the one on this side. Oh, facepalm moment. And oh, what is? Oh, looks like maybe the battery died prematurely or someone forced shut down. But looks like we are good to boot into Yep, it's still Windows 7. So this one wasn't password protected, which is good for us because we can take a look at these system specs now, and I might even break out Passmark and run that on this system real quick. Also, there's actually not a lot of garbage on this machine. I expected there to be a whole bunch of bloatware. It's actually a really clean installation of Windows 7, which is a pleasant surprise compared to some of the other machines that I pick up from garage sales, because you'll get them and there'll be like 10 different pop-ups that come up when you turn the machine on. Nothing popped up when I turned on this HP Pavilion, which is great. Really preserving my sanity here. Anyway, so we have the specs here, and this is also a really nice machine for 10 bucks. We have an i3, second gen at 2.2 gigahertz. 6 gigabytes of what I'm assuming is DDR3 RAM, once again, just given the generation of that CPU. And we have Windows 7 build 7601, so very old version of Windows 7 here. What kind of... Alright, we don't see what kind of hard drive we have here, but I'm going to bring that up. And it looks like we're floating right around 600 gigabytes. So, once again, really good specs here. And if I wanted to, I could probably flip this for 40 or 50 bucks. So, definitely a good garage sale find. I ended up just doing a Windows 8 reset on the Asus machine as opposed to doing a full Windows 10 install, just so we could get Performance Test 9.0 up and running quicker. But as you can see, I have Performance Test 9.0 scores up on the Asus machine as well as the HP Pavilion, and both of these machines actually performed pretty well given their age. So the HP Pavilion, I believe, is around, came out in around 2011, and I believe the Asus machine over here came out around 2013. This one is the better performer of the two, mainly because of those Radeon HD graphics that it has. As you can see, we are scoring significantly higher than the HP Pavilion when it comes to 3D graphics performance and 2D graphics performance. The HP Pavilion only has Intel integrated graphics, so it should still be able to do things like watch Netflix and play back HD YouTube videos, but you can pretty much forget about any sort of 3D gaming. Whereas with this Asus machine, with the AMD Radeon graphics, this machine will definitely be able to play back some light 3D games. One more thing I want to touch on is the really neat accent lighting with this HP Pavilion. So there's accent lighting on the palm rest, and yeah, it's a little bit gimmicky, but I think it looks cool. If the camera would focus on it, there you go. So there's accent lighting around the palm rest right there, some nice white accent lighting. And on the back of the machine, I'm just gonna walk all the way around here. You can also see that there is accent lighting on the back where the HP logo is. So yeah, while kind of gimmicky, it does make for a pretty cool effect. I like the way that looks. Now, one more thing I want to check while these machines are still on is the batteries. Now, when I plugged them in and I turned them on, I noticed that in the Windows taskbar, it mentioned that the batteries were charging. So these batteries are not completely dead. At least I don't believe they are. They probably don't have a lot of life left in them, but I think if we unplug both of these laptops, they should still stay on. So let's give the Asus machine a try first. So that battery still does have some charge left in it. A little bit of life left at least. And the power settings are kicking in there. And let's try this HP machine now. Yeah, so both of those batteries actually still have a little bit of life left in them, which once again is a nice detour from what I usually run into, where laptop batteries I pick up, when I go to garage sales, their batteries are typically dead. We are going to take a look inside the service compartment of the Asus laptop first, and I actually think someone has been in here before because there were only 3 out of the 4 screws securing the hard drive in place. There should be 4, so one was missing, and you can see all 3 of them are right there. And also the RAM is mismatched. You can see one stick of RAM is green right there, and another stick is blue. and they are of different brands. This one's Samsung, and this one is Elpida, I think that's how you pronounce it. It is DDR3. You can also see the Wi-Fi card right here as well. It was pretty easy to get in here. Only 2 screws to take the panel off. Oh my gosh, this is a lot harder to get off than I thought it was going to be. There we go. And that's about it. I mean, you get access to the RAM, the Wi-Fi card, and the hard drive, and that's really it as far as the service compartment is concerned. The hard drive is a 5,400 RPM Hitachi drive. I really dislike these 5,400 RPM drives because they are agonizingly slow. I had one back in 2013, I think, in a gaming PC, and it was absolutely miserable trying to use the machine with that thing because anything took forever to open with that drive. So if you were to use a machine like this in 2021 today, you would definitely need to replace these 5,400 RPM drive with something, you know, a little bit faster, preferably an SSD. And one cool thing I actually just noticed about this is that each screw hole, at least here within this compartment, is labeled with the screw size, which is awesome because, you know, you take apart a laptop and you have a pile of screws and sometimes you forget which screw goes where. But not here because they're labeled. So you can see M2 by 3L. And I think all of them, all of the screw holes here, have a label for the size of screw that goes in there. So that's pretty cool. Really helpful if you take this thing apart and you don't remember which screw goes where. So one thing you'll notice on the back of the HP Pavilion is that there are no screws on the access panel. And no, you don't just pry the thing off with your fingernails or some sort of flathead screwdriver. This is actually pretty neat, and I've never seen this before in an access panel. So we're going to actually use this little switch to pop the access panel off, but if you try to go towards the access panel side of the switch, it won't go there, and that's because it forces you to remove the battery first. So if I push it towards the battery side, battery pops out, pull it out, put it to the side, and now I can move it to the right, which is the access panel side, and that pops the access panel out. So that was another neat thing I ran into with this HP Pavilion. And you can see that this one also has mismatched RAM as well, so I'm guessing that the owner went into both of these possibly and upgraded the RAM at some point. Once again, pretty much the same accessibility as the Asus machine. We have access to the hard drive, RAM, Wi-Fi card, and that's really about it right here. We also get access to the CMOS battery as well. I don't think I saw the battery in the Asus compartment. Let's take this drive out and see what we're working with. So this is also another one of those garbage 5,400 RPM drives, so I would definitely get rid of this if I was actually planning to use this laptop. But something funky here, another thing I've never seen before. So there's not actually a SATA power and data connector mounted to the motherboard. It's actually connected to the drive right now via a cable that runs to a connector that's not a standard SATA power or data connector on the motherboard. So that's the first time I've ever really seen that too. So that's another kind of oddity with this HP laptop. And I was trying to see if this blue stick RAM was the same brand as the one that they put into the Asus machine, or the one at least I think they put into the Asus machine. I'm still not sure if that's stock or not. It doesn't look stock. And these don't look stock either, unless they decide to use 2 different types of RAM inside, or not types, but from different manufacturers inside this machine. I've seen that before on like cars where they'll use different spark plugs on each side of the block when they come off the line. So for example, in like a Toyota Tacoma, they'll have NGK on one side, and then they'll have Denso on the other side of the block. I'm not sure, but I've never really seen that done in a PC, so I still don't think this is something that it rolled out the factory with. So overall, I'd say that was a success. I could probably flip this one for $40 and maybe $20 for the Asus machine because of the screen. I'll be happy if I get 10 for that though, as long as I make back what I paid for it. I was just more interested in actually taking a look at that one. So I'll probably have a couple more of these garage sale find videos over the summer because I'm going to continue to go to garage sales over the weekend, and hopefully I'll be able to pick up a couple more desktops and or laptops. That's going to be about it for this video though. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want to support me, you can check out the affiliate links in the description of this video. But besides that, I will talk to you guys in the next installment of A Computers and Technology.